So this is Slovenia, a country where alpine lakes, coastal towns, fairy tale castles all fit into one very compact landscape. So whether you want to visit Lake Bohinj or whether it's the seaside streets of Piran, Slovenia definitely feels like the most underrated place in Europe. So let's take a look at 12 beautiful places to visit in Slovenia. Number 1, Lake Bohinj. Now this is in the northwest of Slovenia, inside the national park, and it's the largest lake in the country, surrounded by forests and mountains, and it is compared to Lake Bled. But it's way quieter and it feels a lot more natural. The water is incredibly clear, and there are no big towns along the shore, just a few guest houses, walking trails, and some boats. There is one main village, with a small church and a stone bridge that pretty much everyone ends up taking a photo of. And from there, you can follow the edge of the lake on foot, or even take a boat, which you can do, across if you're not in the mood to walk. But it's a starting point for hiking and cable cars, which gives you views over the lake and the Julian Alps. So Bohinj isn't flashy. Number 2 takes us to one of my favourite towns in Europe, Piran, a small coastal town in the southwest of Slovenia, and it's right on the Adriatic Sea. So it's built out on a little peninsula. Narrow streets, faded Venetian buildings, and a central square that opens up to the water. The old town is quite compact. There's a mix of stone houses, old churches, and balconies that all face towards the sea. So it is easy to walk around everywhere, from the main square up to the old city walls, or even down to the edge of the harbour, where locals swim just right off the rocks. So it is more quieter, especially in the mornings. You'll mostly hear church bells, seagulls, but it's not a beach town. It's more about walking, sitting at the edge, and just watching the water. And here's the bonus. From here, it's an easy drive along the coast towards Trieste, just across the border in Italy. And it's actually one of those cities that doesn't really get much attention, but is actually really interesting. Number 3, Lake Bled. One of the most visited places in the country, just northwest of Slovenia. The lake is known for the small island in the middle with a church on it, and the castle up on the cliff that looks out over everything. It's a very organised place. Walking paths all around the lake, rowboats that you can rent, and a lot of cafes and hotels on the edges. Even though it's popular, it still manages to feel peaceful early in the morning, or outside the peak season. The water will be calm and the views are consistent from almost every angle. And it's far more developed than Bohinj, but easy to see why people come here. Everything's close, clean, and easy to reach without needing to go too far into the mountains. A very worthwhile place to visit. The next destination is Ljubljana, Slovenia's capital. It's kind of small, walkable, and instantly likable. Now there's a river that runs right through the city, and it's lined with cafes, bridges, and colourful old buildings. You've even got a castle that overlooks the city from a wooded hilltop. street art tucked into alleyways, and a daily market that keeps the old town feeling still lived in. So even though it is the capital, it doesn't feel hectic like most of the other capitals in Europe. It's more relaxed, with a lot of green spaces and riverside paths. There's also the Triple Bridge and Dragon Bridge, which are quite iconic spots, and you'll likely pass them just wandering around without needing a map. So I think this is a great city to visit, and it's the kind of place that doesn't really need a long itinerary. Number 5 showcases Slovenia's beautiful nature. And Velika Planina is a high alpine plateau in central Slovenia. And it has the reputation for its traditional wooden shepherd huts and open mountain views. So it's not a town, it's more of a seasonal village that comes to life in the summer when the herders bring their cattle up. Now the huts are built in a very specific style, with steep wooden roofs, and they're scattered across the open meadows. But you can reach it by cable car and then walk the rest of the way. This is perfect for those of you who love to hike. There's no traffic, no shops, just open space, grazing animals, and the silence of the mountains. So it's best visited on a clear day, when you can see all the way across the Kamnik Alps. And from Ljubljana, you can take a bus or train to Kamnik, about 30 to 50 minutes, then hop on a local bus that drops you at the cable car base. Short and very simple. Number 6 takes us to a small village in southwestern Slovenia, not far from the coast, and it's mainly known for one thing: the fortified church of the Holy Trinity. From the outside, it looks like a simple stone church, surrounded by defensive walls, but inside, it's covered in detailed frescoes. The most well-known is a mural showing the Dance of Death, which was painted in the 1400s. Now, Hrastovlje is very quiet, just a few houses and farms with hills all around. So it doesn't take long to walk through, and most people come here just to see the church. So I can imagine that's probably the main thing to look at. The Soča River runs through western Slovenia, near the border with Italy, and clearly known for its bright turquoise colour, the kind that doesn't look real until you see it in person. It flows through valleys and small towns, with mountains on both sides and a lot of quiet stretches in between. Now, if you are the adventurous type, these areas are popular for hiking, kayaking, and rafting. But still, you don't have to do any of that to enjoy it. There are walking trails and small wooden bridges that cross the river, and you'll easily find plenty of places to stop and just watch the water. It's not built up, and most of the valley feels untouched. So this is where scenery does most of the work, without needing much to add to it. Number 8, Celje. This castle sits on a hill above the town, and it's one of the largest medieval castles you'll see in Slovenia. Part of it is still standing: towers, outer walls, and sections of the main hall, while other parts are open ruins. So you can walk through the grounds freely, climb the towers, and get wide views over the valley and the town below. There's even a small cafe inside the walls, and some basic signs explaining its history. But it still feels quiet and, the bonus, not overly developed. So it's mostly open space, lots of viewpoints, and one of the best places to visit in the country. Now this is Slovenia's only national park, and it's tucked in the Julian Alps in the northwest of the country. And it's easily one of the best places to visit in Slovenia. It covers about 4% of the country, making it one of Europe's older protected mountain regions. Now the park's named after Mount Triglav, over 2,000 meters, which stands at its center and is a national symbol for Slovenians. But it's not just the peak. Most of the park is valleys, ridges, and glacier-carved lakes. So there are some stunning locations. The lakes like Bohinj, which you've seen earlier. You'll also find steep gorges and beautiful waterfalls. Now the idea is that you will reach this park once you visit Bled and Bohinj. Next up is Predjama Castle, and it's about an hour from Ljubljana. And it's really a standout on this list. It's built straight into the mouth of a cave, halfway up a 120-meter cliff. The outside alone is quite dramatic, but once you step inside, it gets even more interesting. The rooms are built right into the rock, with narrow passageways, old armor displays, and openings that look out over the valley. There's even a secret tunnel, used during sieges, carved straight through the limestone. So it's not really a huge place, but think about it. The mix of natural cave and human construction makes it unlike any other castle in Europe. Now this is Slovenia's main port town, right on the Adriatic and not so far away from the borders with Italy. It's a working city with a mix of old and new. Cargo ships on one side and Venetian-style buildings on the other. Now they do have a main square called Tito Square, and it has a tall bell tower and a palace that kind of gives it more of an Italian feel than you'd expect this close to the Balkans. The streets in the old town are narrow but easy to walk around, as well as a small waterfront with cafes and space to walk along the sea. So it's not so polished like Piran, but it has more of a local feel, and people still live and work here all year round. And those signs come through in the way the town moves. So it's not really a tourist hotspot, but for me, that's kind of the appeal. Number 12, Postojna Cave. Now this is located in the southwest of the country, and it's one of the largest, most visited cave systems you'll find in Europe. Now, here's the interesting part. What makes it different is that you don't have to walk the whole thing. Since the 1870s, there's a small electric train that kind of takes you deep into the tunnels before the walking tour actually starts. So it does feel a bit strange and surreal, especially the first few minutes, as the train winds its way through very narrow passages and huge open chambers. But the cave itself is full of rock formations, and the route is still well lit and easy to follow, and it takes about 90 minutes in total. So even if you're not usually into caves, this one is not so difficult to enjoy. So it's around 10 minutes from the town of Postojna, and around an hour from Ljubljana. And that's the end of this video. Obviously, it's not every single place in Slovenia, but get in there now before one day it's going to be super overrun. Why? Because it is just as good as the rest of the bigger nations in Europe, or even better. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. Thanks for those of you who have subscribed. And for more videos, don't forget to check the playlist below. And I will see you all on the next one.